Roman Reigns claims Paul Heyman has gone dumb. Seth Rollins can't afford another loss against Cody Rhodes. The WWE re-signs Santos Escobar. Kofi Kingston quietly re-signs with WWE. A former WWE star suffers a stroke. Tony Khan accused of failing to build top stars. Why WWE erased Jon Moxley. WWE makes major backstage changes following recent backlash. Shane McMahon is coming back to WWE. The WWE's big plans for Lyra Valkyria. Let's dive right in. Seth Rollins can't afford another loss against Cody Rhodes. Crown Jewel 2025 is just days away, and WWE's creative team is pulling out all the stops for a killer show. The premium live event will see the Vision's Seth Rollins go head-to-head with Cody Rhodes for the Men's Crown Jewel Championship. Meanwhile, Bronson Reed gets his shot at Roman Reigns in an Australian street fight this Saturday. Many think the Vision needs to come out on top, and here are 4 reasons why WWE should make sure the heel faction stands tall at Crown Jewel. Perth. Number 1. Seth Rollins can't afford another loss against Cody Rhodes. Even with all his past wins and his spot at the top of Raw's men's division, Seth Rollins has one big task left: beating Cody Rhodes one-on-one. He's lost all 3 matches against the American Nightmare since Rhodes came back at WrestleMania 38. Now, the Visionary faces the undisputed WWE champion again this Saturday for the Men's Crown Jewel Championship. Rollins can't take another hit from Rhodes. It could kill the fire he's been building on Raw. Plus, his tie with Paul Heyman is on thin ice. The WWE Hall of Famer got real on Raw, saying a loss might make him question picking Rollins over Roman Reigns. So, WWE needs to book Rollins to win. Number 2. The Vision winning could force the babyfaces to work together before War Games. If the Vision comes out on top at Crown Jewel Perth, it could push CM Punk, LA Knight, Roman Reigns, John Cena, and Cody Rhodes to team up before War Games. Cody's cool with Cena, but the Red Brand stars, Reigns, Knight, and Punk, could put their differences aside to face the heel crew. This could set up a massive showdown at War Games, giving fans a clash to remember. It could also add some spark to John Cena's farewell tour, which many feel has been a letdown, creating a moment fans will hold on to. Number 3. Allows Bronson Reed to pick up a huge win in Australia and stand tall over Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns beat Bronson Reed one-on-one at Clash in Paris, but Reed teamed with Braun Breaker to take out the OTC after the match. Reigns returned on Raw, ready for revenge, and now faces the Oscilla in an Australian street fight at Crown Jewel Perth. Since Reed already lost to Reigns in Paris, he can't afford another defeat. With the momentum the 37-year-old has built, a big win in his home country of Australia would keep him looking strong and end the show on a high. Reed's been a force in the Vision, but he's often seen as the least key member compared to Seth Rollins, the current World Heavyweight Champion, and Braun Breaker, who's being built as a future star. Crown Jewel gives Reed a golden chance to make a statement. If he crushes a legend like Roman Reigns, his stock as a solo star could shoot up, which he needs. Seth Rollins' drive to finally beat Cody Rhodes has clouded his focus on leading the Vision, causing tension with Paul Heyman. On Raw this week, the Oracle made it clear that if the architect falls to Rhodes, he might see Rollins as unfit to lead. If Rollins loses at Crown Jewel, Heyman could turn his back. But if Bronson Reed flattens Reigns, he could jump out as a top pick to take over the Vision. Jey Uso's been leaning on Roman Reigns' advice lately to chase the World Heavyweight Championship. The head of the table seems to be grooming the Yeet Master as his heir, adding a fresh twist to the Bloodline story. If Reigns gets crushed by Reed, Jey might start doubting the OTC's guidance. The Yeet Master could stop seeing Reigns the same way, maybe even turning on him and setting up a future cousin versus cousin clash. Number 4. Keeps the Vision's dominance alive in WWE. Braun Breaker is the only Vision member not booked for the Perth event. To keep the group's power strong, Breaker could show up to help Bronson Reed and Seth Rollins take down their foes this Saturday. If he does, it would show off the Vision's strength as a top heel crew and push them toward War Games next month. The WWE re-signs Santos Escobar. Santos Escobar's WWE week has been a wild ride. The former champ seemed set to walk after Raw, but after just one day as a free agent, PW Insider reports WWE has brought him back. The company heard his worries about his future and offered a much bigger deal than before. Earlier, Escobar turned down the first offer. He didn't care about the cash. He wanted real stories on TV. Now, WWE has eased his fears, and he re-signed today. With his fresh status, it's unlikely he'll hit Perth for Crown Jewel weekend. So, he might skip SmackDown this week, but expect him back on Raw or SmackDown soon. Los Garza has done well without Escobar lately, so it's unclear if Legado del Fantasma stays a team on the blue brand, or if WWE has new plans for his comeback. The group lost Elektra Lopez earlier this year, leaving just 3 members. Escobar hasn't gotten much ring time since. Folks thought he'd really leave when his deal ended, but WWE held on to him. Now, he's free to return to Raw or SmackDown and team up with his old crew again. Kofi Kingston quietly re-signs with WWE. The New Day's future looks bright as Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods are sticking with WWE. Fightful Select reports that Kofi Kingston quietly re-signed with WWE earlier this year. While the company hasn't made it official, folks inside WWE say the deal likely runs 5 years, keeping the former WWE champion around until 2030. Kofi Kingston re-signed with WWE at some point earlier this year. WWE sources indicated that they were of the belief that the deal would be a 5-year contract, taking him into 2030 when he'll be nearly 49. This news drops right after word that Xavier Woods also re-signed. His contract was set to end in September 2025, but they sealed a multi-year deal at the last second. The deal came down to the wire and was actually only finalized in September. A source close to the situation told Fightful. Big E's future is still up in the air because of his neck injury, but locking in Kingston and Woods shows WWE wants to keep the New Day alive in some way for years to come. Kofi's one of WWE's most respected veterans and a tag team legend. Insiders say his backstage presence is a big deal, especially for younger stars. He's among the most respected locker room presences in pro wrestling. This deal will carry Kingston into his late 40s, but with his history, charm, and fan love, age won't slow him down in WWE. Do you think WWE made the smart call keeping Kofi Kingston until 2030? Should the New Day stay a team or try more solo runs? A former WWE star suffers a stroke. Michael Tarver, a former WWE star, just shared a gut-wrenching story about surviving a stroke. The ex-Nexus member poured his heart out on Instagram in a raw video, opening up about the terrifying moment he learned he was having a stroke. He tried to keep it quiet at first, but close friends pushed him to get help, and it saved his life. Last night, I was told I was having a stroke. I don't ever emote. I don't ever sell, as we say in the wrestling biz where I spent 20 years of my life. I told nobody, until I was forced to last night. I had a 202/114 blood pressure reading, and the few people I told right before taking myself to the ER, I'm thankful for your persistence and also that I actually listened. While doctors fought to stabilize him, the 46-year-old reflected on his life, his wrestling journey, and the dark battles he's faced, including depression and suicidal thoughts over the years. I was in my bed for a few hours as they were testing and working to get my BP down, and I actually started to have thoughts about my mortality. What a way to die. I have never drank or smoked in my life, and to fall asleep and not wake up because of my blood pressure. I thought about my babies who are all adults now, and all of my years of fighting depression and suicide attempts over the past 20 years. This scare lit a fire in Tarver to keep going. He leaned on his faith and family to pull through, finding a fresh drive to live. I thought about my family, and I just felt this overwhelming responsibility to get up out of that bed and live. I haven't shared this much detail with anyone as I'm still processing all of the weird emotions I'm being overcome with, but the sun came up, and so did I. Thank you, Jesus. Michael Tarver, real name Tyrone Evans, made waves in WWE as part of the Nexus crew that shook things up in 2010. After leaving WWE in 2011, he kept grinding on the indie scene and even showed up in New Japan Pro Wrestling with the NWA crew. His last known match was in 2021 in Tampa, Florida. Tarver's story hits hard, showing even the toughest can face fragile moments, and sometimes survival starts with reaching out for help. Tony Khan accused of failing to build top stars. Inside sources are coming down hard on AEW's Tony Khan and his creative choices. On a recent Wrestling Outlaws episode, the veteran insider used Jake Hager's time in AEW to point out what he sees as the company's biggest mess: Khan's need to keep every wrestler happy. The insider said that in wrestling, not everyone can shine as the top star. Trying to please the whole roster kills momentum for all. I think over there, the problem is that Tony tries to make everybody happy. You cannot do that, bro, in professional wrestling. Absolutely not. Because everybody thinks, EC3 will tell you, everybody thinks they should be the top guy. And bro, if you don't think you should be the top guy, you shouldn't be in the business. He dug deeper, saying this approach leaves AEW wrestlers stuck in a messy cycle of inconsistent booking that stops anyone from truly rising. But the bottom line is, everybody thinks they're the top guy, and there can only be one top guy. So Hager had inconsistent booking at AEW, Chris, for different reasons. Because again, Tony trying to appease everybody. That means, this week I win, next week I lose, this week I win, next week I lose. Bro, you're just not gonna get anybody over that way, man. You're just not. The insider's take fuels a bigger argument about AEW's creative game plan. With a stacked roster, critics say the booking feels repetitive and all over the place, protecting too many wrestlers instead of lifting one clear star. The former WWE writer laid it out. Until AEW commits to consistent stories that push top talent, no one will connect with fans the way they could. Do you think Tony Khan's booking is holding back AEW's ability to make big stars? Why WWE Erased Jon Moxley. On the Raw before Crown Jewel 2025, WWE dropped a video package hyping the Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins clash. The two are set to battle it out in Perth, Australia for the Crown Jewel Championship, and the vignette aimed to fire up fans for the showdown. Titled Part 2, Alleys. The video dove into the history between Rhodes and Rollins. When the Visionary brought up the Shield, WWE showed clips of just Seth and Roman in Shield gear. Jon Moxley, once known as Dean Ambrose, was completely left out, confirming WWE cut him from the story. Here's why. Right now, Jon Moxley is a top dog in All Elite Wrestling, shining under Tony Khan's banner. WWE and AEW are locked in a fierce rivalry, with stars jumping ship left and right. This likely pushed Triple H's team to avoid featuring an AEW star in their video, leading to Dean Ambrose getting snubbed in the Rhodes-Rollins package. It's not common for the Stamford company to name-drop former talent working elsewhere. Roman Reigns ties directly to Seth Rollins on Raw through his ongoing beef with The Vision. The OTC also has history with both Rhodes and Rollins. But Moxley has zero to do with the current storyline between the American Nightmare and the Visionary. That's likely why WWE chose to skip him in the video. If Moxley was part of their story, they might have included the AEW star. Jon Moxley inked a contract extension with AEW in 2022, set to run through 2027. There's no hint the former Shield member is coming back to WWE anytime soon. Since a return isn't on the horizon, WWE probably decided to leave him out of the Raw vignette. If there was even a chance of him coming back, they might have tossed in his name to spark some hype for a future return. WWE makes major backstage changes following recent backlash. WWE is making bold moves behind the scenes after fans let loose with complaints. The company is gearing up for Crown Jewel 2025 this weekend in Perth, Australia. Lately, the WWE product hasn't been hitting the mark, and the Fire Triple H hashtag exploded on social media over the past week. Bodyslam reports that WWE is switching things up in the creative team to make the show better. Road Dogg stays as SmackDown's creative head, but new faces are joining to spice up the blue brand and keep fans hooked. Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins will throw down for the Men's Crown Jewel Championship at the Premium Live event. Stephanie Vaquer and Tiffany Stratton are set to battle for the Women's Crown Jewel Championship. John Cena takes on AJ Styles in a one-on-one clash, and Roman Reigns faces Bronson Reed in a wild street fight this Saturday night. Inside sources dropped some thoughts on fans turning against Triple H. On Sportskeeda Wrestling's Writing with Inside Sources show, the veteran said the WWE crowd is starting to call out the game. He predicted fans will fully turn on him by next year, claiming Triple H puts himself above all else in the company. I think we are really going to see the fan base start to turn on Triple H. I really believe that. When I used to hear a lot about the product, it was Inside Sources brand. They reviewed the product and they echoed what I said. I hear it being said now outside the Inside Sources brand. I am starting to hear about the creative more and more. You tie that to the fact that the guy puts himself all over everything, and I'm telling you, I think people are going to start turning on him going into 2026. He said, "It'll be a blast to see if WWE has any big surprises up its sleeve for Crown Jewel this weekend." Shane McMahon is coming back to WWE. Shane McMahon hasn't graced WWE TV since WrestleMania 39, where he made a surprise return for a match against The Miz. But before any real action, he tore his quadriceps, got sidelined, and hasn't been back on screen since. Shane hasn't held an official backstage role, and fans have been itching for news on the son of the former WWE president. Now, some big clues are pointing to a possible return to the Stamford-based company. Let's dive into 3 signs that scream Shane McMahon might be back. For months, whispers have swirled about Vince McMahon plotting a new wrestling promotion. Fans wondered if Shane was joining his dad's venture. In a recent TMZ Sports interview, Shane was asked about this rumored new league, and he put those ideas to rest. You never know what's going to happen out there. Of course, anything can happen in WWE, but those rumors are false. Those rumors are false, Shane said. But here's the kicker. He never ruled out a WWE return. That alone feels like a huge hint that he might step back into the Stamford spotlight. The wrestling world's been buzzing about the McMahon family's impact, especially with Stephanie McMahon named as the first inductee for the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2026 at WrestlePalooza. While fans cheered her, Shane McMahon's son Declan jumped into the comments on WWE's announcement, hyping his dad for a Hall of Fame spot too. That move's a major signal that Shane could be gearing up for a WWE comeback. Shane's been off WWE TV since WrestleMania 39 and wasn't listed on the active roster on WWE's website for a while. But now, he's been added back to the roster list. A massive clue he's on his way back. WWE often updates its site to include returning stars, and this could be the case for Shane. Fans are left waiting to see what the company has cooking for the legend next. The WWE's big plans for Lyra Valkyria. Triple H's creative crew loves mapping out bright futures for a few standout stars on WWE's main roster. A fresh report from Bodyslam.net just spilled that Lyra Valkyria is set for a massive push in 2026. Last year, the 28-year-old got her main roster call-up after dropping the NXT Women's Championship to Roxanne Perez. She quickly became a key player on Raw, making history as the first women's Intercontinental Champion in 2025. The rising star doubled up on gold at WrestleMania 41, teaming with Becky Lynch to snag the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship, but it was a trick, sparking one of Raw's hottest storylines for the Women's Intercontinental title. The report says WWE sees Valkyria as a cornerstone of the women's division moving forward. While the plans don't name a specific title, this big spotlight could lead to huge moments like winning the Royal Rumble or climbing the ladder for the Money in the Bank briefcase. The company's clearly got their eyes on her, and it's going to be a thrill to watch what's next for Lyra Valkyria in the coming months. After losing the Women's Intercontinental Championship to Becky Lynch at Money in the Bank, Lyra got another shot in a triple threat match with Bayley at Evolution in Atlanta. Becky held on to the title. Later, Big Time Bex put it all on the line in a final match, with the catch that Lyra could never challenge for the title again if she lost. The 28-year-old took the deal and stepped into the historic New Jersey event, but Bayley's meddling cost her, and the man walked out with the gold. After SummerSlam 2025, Lyra tried to keep her distance from Bayley, wanting nothing to do with the role model. But now, they're stuck teaming up, caught in a feud with the Judgment Day's Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez on Raw. It's a wild twist, and with WWE's big plans for Valkyria, this storyline could be the start of something huge. Roman Reigns claims Paul Heyman has gone dumb. Roman Reigns threw some playful shade at Paul Heyman as WWE Crown Jewel Perth nears. The OTC cheekily claimed his former Wiseman has gone dumb. The former undisputed WWE Universal Champion is set to battle Bronson Reed in an Australian street fight down under. Before the big premium live event, the 40-year-old hopped on the Pat McAfee show and talked about Heyman. Reigns gave props to the WWE Hall of Famer for teaching him tons over the years, but he joked that he soaked up so much wisdom from Heyman that the 60-year-old's brain ran dry. The head of the table said he's now the master himself. I mean, he taught me so much. I sat under his learning tree. I caught shade for a long time, so anything that he's teaching all these other guys, he's already, you know what I mean? Just he's long-winded, so he'll keep on telling his stories. You know what I mean? He'll come back to them. So I, like a sponge, absorbed so much from the former Wiseman that I think he's gone dumb. I don't think he's the same guy. McAfee, you took it all? I think, yeah, it's become one of those situations. I become the master, Reigns said. Reigns kept chatting with McAfee, sharing warm memories of Heyman spinning tales on long flights. The OTC said Heyman would sometimes repeat the same story, but he'd listen again to check if the lesson held up. Reigns added that when you're around someone as sharp as Heyman, the smart move is to soak up every bit of knowledge. You can ask the twins when we were on these, years ago on these flights doing, the same thing to Saudi. I'd sit there and I'd listen to him. I'd sit there and I'd take counsel. I'd sit there and hear his stories. And sometimes, he'd forget he told me a story and he'd tell me again. But I'd listen to it again, just to see, you know what I mean? If the mantra, the moral, the story was the same. Or if there's another little piece of information, he's a very wise soul. So you gotta be smart when you're around someone like that because you can learn so much, Reigns said. It'll be a thrill to see if Paul Heyman ends up tipping the scales in the Roman Reigns versus Bronson Reed showdown at Crown Jewel.